Hey, this is Mad Hatter, and I'm here with a technical test toolset that will let you test your farms, your redstone contraptions in various ways, and give you reliable results without having to be super diligent about how you do things. This is in response to a couple of farms that I've seen that have just the wrong rates. They're not even close to right. People are just reporting bad test results, and I know that's for a fact because when I repeat their tests on their world with their world downloads, it is just horribly different, like half the rates that they report. So let's get into how this works. First off, this is a world where I have a farm. This is a charged creeper farm. It's not done. It's just a kind of a concept, but I want to use it as an example of how to test. So let's get started. First thing, we're going to save and quit. And we're going to grab this world, edit it, and we're going to turn on game test framework. Game test framework has to be enabled in order for this to work. It'll make a copy of your world when you do this, but I need game test framework for some of these things. Next thing, we're going to turn on technical test framework resource. Turn on the resource pack and behavior pack. And those two will be used in conjunction to make this work. So now that I have this pack on, I have access to a whole bunch of game tests. So if I go here and I go / game test and I do run, and let's do ones related to mob spawning. So I have timers, and here you can see that I have timers for random tick and for mob spawning. We're going to do a 10-minute mob spawning timer just because that works. So this guy here is just a timer entity that I made. He just stands on the pressure plate. That's all he does. If you want to kill him, you do /kill at E type equals timer, and then it's 5, 10, 15, what have you. So this one is the 10-minute timer. And then I need the closing bracket because that's how it works. So he's dead. And now spawning is off. So these command blocks are just set up so that it says something in chat and then it turns on mob spawning. And then later it stops mob spawning and sets something in chat. Next thing that I'd recommend doing is game rules. And I would do command block output. And I set that to false. This uses a lot of command blocks in this pack, and they can get really noisy. So this will now let mob spawn for exactly 10 minutes, and then he will die after 10 minutes. So that's not all the tools that I have. So we also have, let's go game test and run, and we're going to run hostile mob cap. What this one does is if I turn it on and I push this button, it tells me that there are 12 hostile mobs in mobcap. And my guess is that those 12 mobs are creepers sitting in this machine somewhere. Oh, no, they were inside of that building over there. So you can see how many mobs are in mobcap at any given time. That's useful, but maybe you wanted to get how many mobs spawn in total. So you can do a mob counter. And this one, when I turn it on, and you can leave both these on at the same time, when I push the button, it'll just count the number of mobs that have spawned in total. So if I grab, like, let's say a zombie egg and I place it down. So if I hit this button, you'll see that there are 22 mobs in mobcap right now. They're not technically in mobcap because they're spawned, but I can't tell the difference between like spawn egg mobs um and naturally spawned mobs. So now there are 17 in cap, and then 28 that have been total spawned. So those two work nicely, and you can, you know, run slash kill at E family equals monster, and it'll kill all the monsters. And then you'll see we've got only the ones 0 in cap, and then, you know, more as it fills up. I have those for passive mobs as well. So like game test, passive mob, and it's the same. You flip on this lever, you hit this button, and it sets passive mob cap, tell you how many are out there. And then this one, you can do also the passive mob counter, which is handy if you're doing something like a Strider farm or something like that. Again, hit the switch and push the button. So these are the mob based ones. They're kind of handy. I'm going to turn them off for now. I don't need them on. And then now that we have the mobs, when you're doing a mob farm, you also want to do item testing. So how many items you get per hour or per unit time. So I have 2 item test item counters, and you can modify these however you need to. So I have the high speed. This one will do 16 hopper speed sorting when it's on. So if sorry, it started to get dark, so I clipped the thing, turn it on. You'll see now when I push this, I get an item counter, and when I drop items over here, I dropped 4. They'll go around a loop, and then I'll get 4 on the count. If I drop a whole pile of items all at once, so if I drop these, which is that's just a high speed macro to hit Q, I get a whole pile of items going around. They'll get picked up by all these hoppers. And then eventually we'll get a total item count. It's really noisy, but it does the job. Somebody else might have a better item counter than that, but this is mine. It seems to work. So let's get on to the sorted items. So I'm going to turn this one off. You can only have one of these on at a time. I'm going to go stand here. Sorry, I had to deal with some noise. We made another cut, but so this one is the stackable items sorter item counter. So in here, you can put items in this filter, like I have shroom lights, warp stems, and warped wart blocks. And then here you can, at the end, change the names of these scoreboards. So by default, it should be dummy channel 1, channel 2. So this was warped stems. And then when I push this button, it'll set up all the scoreboards. So I just go through and I can get them set up again. If you want to change names, you always have to reset. Change the names up in there, and then set up scoreboard. Now, setting the filters, like I said, normal item filters. So if I turn this one on, and I drop in shroom lights, let's just drop a stack. So a stack of shroom lights goes in. Did it pick it up? Oh, yep, there it goes. It's not as fast as the other one. It's single hopper speed, but it'll do sorted. So you can do, you know, like gold, rotten flesh, nuggets, whatever you wanted to in this. So once we get the stack counted, it will Here we are, 62, 63, 64. That's all of them. And then it's also picking up sticks from those blocks despawning. I'm going to clear this and I'm going to turn it off. So now both of these item sorters are off, but we still have more that we can do. We can check lag. So I have 3 items for checking lag. First is the lag checker. This one's kind of a little bit different. You're going to want to grab Control Shift middle mouse or copy the command out of there and place it where the grass is green, and then grab a lever and then just change it over to repeat and set it to like 5 ticks or something like that, or 10 ticks. It depends on how much chat messaging you want. I'm going to set it up to 20 ticks, so once a second. It'll run, put a lever on there, turn it on, and then you see it gives me ticks per second in MSPT. The ticks per second are accurate. MSPT is not accurate for things below 50. So now if I wanted to actually cause lag, I actually have lag generators built in. First one is one that I use all the time. We discovered it on Slackville, and it's the shulker lag. There is a specific way to set up these shulkers so that you can control the lag. So you can see now we're at 72 milliseconds per tick and 14 ticks per second. If I grab a clock and I just turn it on, and we'll grab dust. Grab dust. And we'll put a dropper. Just put a couple blocks of coal in there. And put it on subtract mode. And put a block here. So you can hear it clicking. And you can hear it speed up as the lag gets better. So you can tell with this that the lag is real, and you can see really small changes in lag visually on the screen. So it's super handy if you're lag testing or lag busting, but that's, you know, the use of that one. The other lag machine is, I don't know who actually came up with this one originally. It's not mine, but I've seen it a couple of places, so I'm not going to say exactly whose it was because I'll screw it up, but it is definitely not mine. I saw it in one of the technical discords, and this one, when you throw the lever, it causes a bunch of lag. Strangely, I think that this is far less laggy than these shulkers, but yeah, it still is pretty bad. And the lag is kind of sporadic. If you actually put a you can hear it kind of like gallops, I guess, for lack of a better word. Anyway, so that's the lag test. That's the mob spawning test and the counters and everything like that. So I am not done working with this. I'm not done fixing it up or adding to it or whatever. So if people have ideas, I'm happy to add it in. If you actually have command block things that are super useful for you, I would love to see you post the structure, so you can, you know, grab a structure block by /give structure @s structure block, and then save it and export. So if I go into this structure block, I can hit export here. You can export this structure and put it in my Discord. I'll take a look at the command blocks and see how we can fit it into the pack. But I would love for this to be a standard way to test mob farms. Not necessarily that your mob farm will be complete once you put on these simple item sorters or whatever, but it's a great way. It's super standard. The timers are super standard, and we don't have to worry about somebody going 30 seconds long or fudging their numbers by testing a whole bunch of short tests and then multiplying them out. So hopefully you like it. Hopefully you can get some use out of it. And this is Mad Hatter, and I'm out. Bye.